Welcome to this edition of Inside Look. Today I'm joined by D&T Pest Control's Tim. I'm not going to even try and pronounce your
Penza.
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 Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I've been doing pest control for roughly about 32 years. I've owned D&T we're going into our 22nd year.
Wow.
We started as just myself and, at the time, my wife. So only one employee, which was me. So we blossomed from there. That was 20 plus years ago. And now we employ, we're up to 14 people and growing.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Sometimes just babysitting. But we have a great cast of guys. We really do. We're pretty fortunate with the people that we have. Very caring people, and they know what they're doing.
Now, did you envision it going this way and growing the way it has?
I wanted it to. I didn't realize it was going to become what it has. I guess at the time I was just looking for a job. I was just looking to feed my family, and no, we just kept growing and growing. Word of mouth just was my best friend, I guess.
Now, is it hard to get people to employ? I mean, pest control, first of all, seems creepy to me. So, is it a difficult? Do you have to be certified? Like, how does that work?
It seems creepy, and you have to be certified. So, you're saying I'm a certified creep? Yes, you do need credentials. And I think every state requires that you have. There's so many licenses that you can obtain. The basic one is just the 000, which allows you just to apply general pesticide. So you can't. Pesticides are broken into certain groups. There's restricted use, and then there's your fumigants, and then there's your least toxic products. But everything, anytime you apply a pesticide, you have to have a license. So what we do is we take state mandated tests, and then we keep up with classroom training hours every year. So depending on the license that you have will determine how many class hours you need to take.
Oh, so that's not bad.
No, it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because you get to meet, everybody else that's in the field and is also there at the training seminar. So it's pretty good. We get to keep up with everybody and changes in the industry. Creepy? Everybody says that.
Well, no, but I mean, it would freak me out.
I can tell you endless stories of people that we work with. There's one in particular that keeps coming back to mind. It was a gentleman that called me. It was probably about 1:30 in the morning, and we have an emergency service, but that's used more for like a raccoon getting in the house or a bat flying around or something to that effect. This guy begged and pleaded with me to go over his house, that he had a mouse running around his house. And I said, well, if we can wait till morning, it's going to cost you a lot less than if I have to go do an emergency service right now. So he reluctantly agreed. And I got there the next morning at 6:30, and I rang the doorbell. And I'm kind of a short guy. I was not cursed with height by no means. I rang the doorbell, and the door opened, and I literally went like this. He had to have been 7'2", 7'3".
Oh my God.
He was massive. He was one massive man, and he was freaked out.
Here you are, and you're.
I'm walking around his house, and he has his hands on my shoulders. I don't know how you do this. So.
Was he older?
No, at the time, probably like mid-30s.
Really?
Yeah.
My God, that's hysterical.
Talk about the elephant and the mouse. I mean, that's a prime example.
That's funny.
Well, people hate bugs. People just hate bugs. And, on the more serious side of that, there's been some cases where, I believe right here in North Attleboro, somebody lost his life to bees, yellow jackets.
Oh.
So, it's we do anything from, the simplest of stuff, removing ants, remediation of carpenter ants, or little pavement ants, stuff like that, to bigger stuff where it becomes now it's a health threat.
Now, you mentioned bees and stuff like that. What precautions do you take to protect yourselves from not getting hurt, or, you know what I mean?
Depending on the situation, there's not one. I'm allergic to bees. So,
Oh, dear God.
I need to be careful, number one.
I guess.
But all my guys and myself, we all have bee suits, full protecting bee suits. So we encourage to wear your personal protection equipment. Yeah.
And you bring your EpiPen, I hope.
Oh, everywhere I go. I have 4 of them in my back pocket as I'm approaching a nest.
My God, that's not a good job for you.
It's too late for brain surgery. That train's come and gone.
Now, when you talk about pests, I heard you mention mice, ants, bees, raccoons, bats. You do all that vast range?
Yeah, we do just about everything. We've only been doing wildlife services, wildlife being squirrels, raccoons, bats. That's probably the most common in Mass. But we've only been doing that roughly about 7 years. So that's kind of new to us.
Okay.
But, that aspect of the business is just taken off. It's just, it amazes me what can chew into somebody's home. It's just, it's pretty amazing. What's big up here is the red flying squirrel.
Yes.
So, they're pretty passive. So, I've gone in an attic and they rubbed on me like a cat, so hate to really kill them. They're so cute. They really are pretty cute. So, we do a lot. We do a lot of, we have our hand in a lot of different aspects of pest control.
Which is amazing, because that gives you, because automatically when I think people think pest control, they really only do think bugs. Do you know what I mean? They're not thinking right, actual animals.
You're right.
So I wouldn't think to call you if I had a squirrel in my attic.
A lot of people, I guess their tendency is first and foremost call the police or the fire department. And then, the next thing they would do after that would be to call
Animal control. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm kind of surprised at animal control because they don't do a lot of removals.
They don't.
No, and I don't know why that is. I'm not really quite sure. But then the calls get brought over to us. We do advertise on web and everywhere. We advertise everywhere. But the call inevitably does come to us.
Now, do you work at all with pest control or with animal control or anything like that? Or no, you're just...
Excuse me. The only time that we worked with them was, oh God, several years, if not more. When the crows were dying, the blackbirds were dying. We were picking them up and we were having them tested for the towns. But no, other than that, not really too much. And you'd think we would.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I think there would be a relationship there that.
Yeah, no, I got a call the other night, bat flying around home. The woman called animal control and they wouldn't respond.
Now, do they just not answer, or?
Some don't answer, some say they don't do it.
So what's their purpose? Not trying to get you up, put you on the spot. But you see what I'm saying. Like,
No, I do. I absolutely do. And these are things where I would think that that's what they're getting paid for, is to go in and take care of a situation like that. But no, there's a lot of situations where they don't.
Well, I guess it's good for you.
Well, yeah, it is. But, it's, I'd like to see them be more involved.
Oh, of course.
That would be good. Sometimes we just run out of time. We just can't be everywhere. Can't be everywhere all the time. So sometimes we rely on their help, either from environmental police or animal control.
Well, it's amazing because you've got what? You said 14 employees?
Yes, we just hired on number 14.
Wow. And you go, where are you based out of and what's your area?
My area right now is, we used to have an office in Westwood, Mass. Now we've commuted back to Bellingham, Massachusetts. Okay. So from Bellingham, Mass, we cover roughly a 60-mile radius, which includes Rhode Island. So we broke into Rhode Island 4 years ago, and that's picking up nicely. There's a lot of competition in Rhode Island. So yeah, from our home point, we cover roughly about 60 miles.
So that's a lot.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Now, are things different in Rhode Island as far as, like, certifications, things? Because you know what I mean.
Certifications, no. The test is pretty standard state to state. Environmental changes, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. I would say the poorer parts of town, Woonsockets, Fall River, tend to have more of a heavy bedbug infestation than, say, Medfield or
Dover Westwood or something.
The more affluent towns, right? So, I believe like about a week ago, there was a Woonsocket High had to close down.
I think I remember that.
They had to close down to treat for bed bugs.
That's disgusting.
It's dollar signs from heaven.
Yeah, for you.
But it's kind of all relevant. But certain areas have certain things. And there isn't really too much that I haven't run across. There was a family. I don't really want to say too much about them. I don't want to call them out. But their young daughter got bit by a black widow.
Oh, dear God.
And it was pretty severe. Nobody could identify what it was. Thankfully, the father of this child was a EMT for, I think, Needham Police, or Needham Fire Department. And he had enough common sense to bring her to the CDC. And when they got her there, that's where they said it was a black widow. Black widows, for us in this area, it's not common at all. So we read this story, and myself and my partner, children to us are very, very near and dear. And, when we go into a home and we see really bad conditions, a lot of my customers are hoarders. A lot of them are hoarders.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Well, that would explain the bugs.
Bugs, mice, rats. This stuff is all running around. But we read this story about this little girl, and it kind of broke my heart. So we volunteered our services. We went in. We treated the yard. We treated the house. There was no charge for any of these services. And I actually found two black widows in their bulkhead down in the basement.
Oh, my God.
And right off the bulkhead, she runs a hair and nail salon. So from the end of the table to where I'm sitting is the bulkhead. And they had no idea. So Mother Nature has a way of hiding itself.
Oh, that's so creepy. Oh, my God.
But a lot of people don't realize they have a problem, or they try to self-help, which
with like sprays and things.
And a lot of times that makes the problem even worse. So we ask people, if you're going to do something, just kind of do the research on the product that you're using. a lot of the products that you can buy over the market, believe it or not, are a lot more harmful than what we're using if used incorrectly.
Interesting.
So I had a gentleman one day, he was getting yellow jackets in his bedroom. And the guy had, he had cancer and he had one of his lungs removed. So he was literally functioning on half a lung on the other side. And they called me up for a service that he had yellow jackets in his bedroom. And I got to the house, I walked in the door, and his wife said, he's upstairs. And I said, who's upstairs? I thought one of my other guys was there. And she said, my husband is upstairs. He's in the room with the bees. He's trying to kill him.
Oh, no.
I said, oh, boy. So I went upstairs, I opened up the door as much as I could. He had knocked himself out.
Of course.
He was in a closed room spraying wasp freeze, and the room filled up with wasp freeze and overcame him. So we had to drag him out, get him back to life first, and then take care of the problem.
So people should be mindful of those things.
There is nothing, I've been doing this a long time. And when I first broke into this market, I was using DDT, malathion, chlordine, some pretty heavy-duty stuff. But when we were using this stuff, we never had a bedbug problem. We never had a problem with any of that stuff. All of this now is all new to us. But it always amazes me, you know, the amount of time I've been doing this, where I walk in to a customer's home and they said, oh, you know, I've been treating myself. And I said, you know, well, what's the product you use? And, oh, you know, the stuff you buy down at Home Depot in a green container. And I said, you know, do you know what's in it? What's the active ingredient? You know, I'm not really quite sure. So, and then they're scared to death of what we're using. And I'm like, you know, I'm licensed for this. I know what I'm doing. I know how to
You
mix
at least
it.
know how to control it, right?
Yeah. So it's just kind of comical that, you know, people are scared to death of us, but yet they feel they can go to a hardware store and buy, you know, buy
And
whatever
it's safer.
they want. Well, I don't know about that, but
Well, that's what they think.
yeah, it's kind of scary actually.
Now, is something like calling, even if you may not have a problem, but you just want to make sure you can prevent one or
Absolutely.
find out, is it a good idea maybe once a year to call
Absolutely.
somebody like you to check out the house?
There's, you bring up great points, all. Yes, everybody should have their home looked at from a pest everybody should have their home looked at from a pest control company to make sure everything is going okay. There's houses where now the market has bounced back for the housing market has bounced back a lot. So our home inspections have increased crazy, actually.
Wow.
It's been pretty good. So we do, it's called a WDI report, and it's, this report is specifically done for VA, FHA, Fannie Mae loans. And, you know, these people are selling their homes, beautiful homes, and they don't know that, they never knew they had a problem. And then we'll come in, we'll do an inspection. I was at an inspection about 2 weeks ago where this happened. They were selling the house, and we uncovered about $35,000 in termite damage.
Oh my God.
They never knew they had a problem. Never. They claimed they never knew. But and I probably tend to believe them. They, you know, a working couple, they weren't home too much. The termites were having a ball.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was considerable damage. A lot of people really don't know what to look for, what the signs are. Different insects leave behind different signs. Carpenter ants will leave behind like a sawdust because they really don't eat wood, where termites will, sometimes they can bury themselves into the middle of the wood. Sometimes I don't even know you have a problem. So that's where, you know, coming in, checking the moisture of the wood, checking the integrity of the wood, you got to be pretty thorough. You do have to be really thorough because, like I said, the termites can go right through the center of a piece of wood and you'll never see it. But sometimes they'll leave little telltale signs. You just need to be aware of them, know what to look for. But a lot of homeowners don't know what to look for.
Now, is that the most costly termite damage?
is it the most costly?
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I do. I've seen probably equal carpenter rat damage, termite
Really?
damage. Carpenter rats can do quite a bit of damage too. So to say, one is more costly than the other, I mean, anything destructive to your home is destructive to your home. Even carpenter bees do a certain amount of damage to the soffit lines, or where the gutters are. Carpenter bees, have you ever seen one of those?
no.
I'm sure you have. You just probably just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I probably ran away from it.
It looks like a bumblebee. How you can tell the difference between a carpenter bee and a bumblebee. A bumblebee has like a furry butt,
Okay.
where a carpenter bee has like a leathery back,
Oh, okay.
and they're very protective. So they'll draw a perfectly round hole. They'll come in horizontally, and then go laterally and lay their eggs. So in the process of doing that, they're killing the fascia boards. They're just wrecking them. So you would ask earlier about things that we can do to prevent things like that. There's all sorts of treatments that can be done to avoid having a problem. I have a lot of customers just do like a foundation spray.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like,
Yeah.
is it good to take that preventative measure just, like, especially come spring or...
There's two kinds of houses in Massachusetts. Those that have a termite and a carpenter problem, and those that are just waiting to get one. That's how Massachusetts is. When you drive around, look at where where they're building some of these houses. They used to be all forest, and now it's big beautiful neighborhoods. They're gorgeous, big beautiful houses, but they don't leave any trees.
No.
A termite or a carpenter doesn't know the difference between your home and a tree.
Right, it's not their fault.
No, it's really not. I mean, they're really not left with much to go to. So we're living in their world. I mean, when we're gone, they're going to be still around.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that's going to be around are roaches and rats. They're going to run the world.
That's true. Now, what is one of the most interesting stories that you've had to deal with? Like the strangest...
Strangest. I went to, this was a long time ago. I'm old, so I forget things. So
stop.
Forgive me, please. The mind just doesn't, it's not as sharp as it used to be. I went to a home one morning, and I got there, it was about 7:45, and I heard screaming. I hadn't even rang the doorbell yet, and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a pretty exciting day.
Yeah.
It was starting already. And I finally rang the doorbell, and a woman was screaming, come in, come in, come in. Like, bloody screaming, come in, come in. I thought she was being murdered. I really did. So I walked in, and she was on the couch, and she was giving birth. She had crowned.
Oh, my God.
She crowned. So, she crowned. Did I mention that?
I guess. So what should she do?
I walked in, and I said, did you call your husband? I have to go. She said, I called him. You can't get there for another half hour. I'm like, oh, no.
Now, wait, can I ask something quickly? Were you scheduled to be there?
I was scheduled to be there to do an ant job.
Okay. So it wasn't like she called you.
No, she didn't call me to go there and deliver the baby.
Okay,
No, she called
okay.
me. Her husband had called me.
I
because
just
they were
wanted
having
to
an
make
ant
sure.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I had a scheduled appointment there. But I walked in, and that's what was facing me, and I was like, oh, dear God.
Where are the ants?
Yeah. So I actually helped her have the baby.
Wow.
911 came. The husband came shortly after that. It was actually pretty cool. I don't know, as cool as can be, I guess. They named the child Timothy.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the
That's
middle
pretty
name was
cool.
Timothy. So that was pretty exciting
That's
that day.
fun. No, that really is. That's very cool. Brave of you.
Wow. I have children of my own, and I've seen it. So, I mean, I'm not Trust me, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but it's
I don't want
somebody
to do
you
it
don't
anymore.
know, so it's like,
I don't want that to
forbid.
happen again. No, I'm good with that.
well, for people who are looking for services, your services, how can they get in touch with you? Do you have a website? What's the best way?
Many ways to get in touch with us. We have local phone numbers. If you Google D&T Pest Control, my website will come up with, again, local phone numbers for different areas. My website is dtpest, dtpest.com. You can reach out to us at dtpest@comcast.net. My phone number is 1-888-8-BUG-OFF.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
My Bellingham number is 508-966-4470. So either by phone or computer is good. Sure.
Well, it's very interesting what you do. And
It's never ending.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem like there's really ever a dull moment
Just when
there.
you think you've seen or learned it all, no, there's more to be had.
Is there anything we haven't talked about you'd like to mention?
Just, I want to, reiterate, please don't try to handle a pest problem on your own. A lot can go wrong. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of people that have hurt themselves with the products that they're using because of lack of knowledge. They just don't know what they're doing and how to apply it. So, have your home looked at is a great idea, at least once a year. 90% of pest control companies don't charge for an inspection. And, you can walk around with my techs and they can show you what's going on and what's not going on. When we do an inspection, we do a full inspection. So, there's homes where we've been in where we were doing a pest inspection and we uncovered a water problem. So, integrated pest management goes a long way with pest control. But just if you're going to treat, just be careful, know what you're using.
Well, Tim, it's been a pleasure. Went by
Thank
fast.
you so very much. Yes, it did.
And I hope people out there give you a call. Only for bugs, not for giving birth, right? And we thank you and hope that if you have a problem around your house, you get in touch with D&T Pest Control. Thank you for watching this edition of Inside Look.